Today we're on the Show with Issues set to talk about a female spider-themed superhero. Can you guess who it is? That's right, Silk. Peter Parker, an unpopular high school student, was bitten by a radioactive spider, which granted him the powers of blah blah blah. We know this already. But it was revealed not too long ago in Marvel's original Sin event that the same exact spider went on to bite a fellow student of Pete's on the same field trip, Cindy Moon. She has basically the same power set as Spidey: wall crawling, super strength, a spider sense, or rather silk sense, that's far better than Spidey's, and even the ability to shoot out organic webbing from her fingers, which is what her first costume was created from. Cindy was approached by a man named Ezekiel Sims, who trained her to use her powers, but also locked her away in a bunker so she would be safe from the powerful spider-hunting villain, Morlun. 10 years or so go by with Cindy locked away in the bunker. A different Cindy locked away in a different bunker, although I am just now starting to see the similarities. But 10 years, people! When Peter finds out about her existence, he tracks her down and frees her from captivity. She explores New York, gets a job as a reporter with hopes that it would help her track down her missing family, and becomes the superhero Silk, all while having basically no knowledge past the 90s. No idea what Twitter is, wasn't aware they made a 3-movie franchise out of The Hobbit. She makes offhand references to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She even mentions Pokemon constantly, even going so far as to label one of her villains, Dragonclaw, as Pokemon Dude. And it's this lack of modern knowledge that leads to her bonding with J. Jonah Jameson, who affectionately calls her Analog. It's adorable and rad. And maybe you've noticed, but the idea of 90s kids has become increasingly popular over the last few years, reaching peak saturation in 2014, the same year that Silk was introduced. Coincidence? I don't know, probably, I don't know. A bunch of 90s properties like Full House, X-Files, Boy Meets World, and Twin Peaks have been brought back, not to mention the countless BuzzFeed-esque articles about things only true 90s kids will understand. But I mean, it's not uncommon for a generation to look back at their childhood with fond memories. It just seems like 90s kids it's a little too prevalent. There's no doubt that the internet and technology as a whole have played huge roles in this. Writer Kelsey Dobbin argues a somewhat beautiful explanation. Quote, "We are the generation that lived half of our childhood without the digital revolution and the other half of our youth in a world completely run by it. We became the generation that bridged the technological gap. Because of this, we long for the simplicity that we were able to experience early in our lives, and we achieve this through reliving the aspects of 90s culture, such as television, movies, games, and fashion," end quote. This translates quite nicely to Silk. She's able to go anywhere and do anything in the great city of New York, but she finds it too loud and busy. She longs for the quiet simplicity of the bunker, the stupid, awful, terrible bunker. Even though she gave up years of her life in there, she's nostalgic for it. As sad as it might seem, it makes perfect sense. Take a look at this. This is a graph that shows the number of memories that are encoded into the average person's brain at different stages in life. It's known as the lifespan retrieval curve. This section in red is the reminiscence bump. Between ages 10 to 30 are, or depending on your age, will be some of your most accessible memories. There are a few theories behind why this occurs, but it seems most of them revolve around a sense of identity and change. There are scores of milestones that we set in our culture for this period of time. Being old enough to drink, being old enough to drive, hopefully not at the same time, graduating high school or college if that's your thing, wasn't for me, falling in love, finding your career. These are all things that tend to happen during this period of a person's life. Which means it's both the period of discovering who you are as well as experiencing firsts. First time you drove, first time you drank, hopefully not at the same time, etc. As you age, you experience fewer and fewer firsts, which means your brain doesn't have to use as much energy to encode all that information as it did the first time. This is why we often feel nostalgic for this period of our lives, and things that are connected to it, like how I was super excited about getting my picture taken with the Legends of the Hidden Temple Guard at VidCon, Green Monkeys for life. It's during this time when we still experience novel events and define our identities, and Silk was trapped in a bunker for 10 of those years. Even when she's physically freed, she's still mentally trapped in the past, needing to find her missing family, depressed by how her neighborhood has changed and how the people who used to be in her life have moved on. She finds comfort in the bunker. She hates it, but it's where she formed a lot of her identity. What do you guys think about Silk and nostalgia and being a 90s kid? Why are the Green Monkeys objectively the best team? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Sorry for being absent last week and late this week. I'm still getting my new place set up here in Dallas. I also traveled to California last week. Loved seeing your lovely faces at VidCon. Bear with me as we still get things in order. I'm also sick, if you can't tell. No end card today. Yeah, that's right. We're skipping the end card. Woo! But make sure you hit that big sexy subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the new videos we make for you every week. My name is Scott, reminding you to read between the panels and grow smarter through comics. See ya.